Welcome to the Avatar Slang Podcast, your ultimate go-to for fiction, fandom, and nerd culture, where they collide with politics and everything in between. Before we dive in, follow the podcast on Spotify or your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. For more nerdy content, follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Avatar Slang. I'm joined by my friend at WiggeyLou on TikTok, and we're going to talk about shows on Apple TV. I think that's a really slept-on app, but it has a lot of good stuff on there. Really good series. Because we're talking about shows, probably shows y'all haven't watched before, we're going to issue a spoiler alert.
This is a spoiler alert. You've been warned.
So, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, I'm going to tell the audience a quick story. So, I found Wiggy by basically, I was just scrolling TikTok and my sister sends me a message. She sends me a bunch of TikToks a day. She's one of the, you know how you have like a couple million people that send you random TikToks all day long?
Mm-hmm.
So she sent me a video about a woman speaking about Shrinking, a show I love, and that woman happened to be you. And then I saw the views. I was like, oh, this is like she blew up. And then, so, I'm like, I like the way she broke it down. I follow. And, a lot of times when people have viral videos, they have a lot of notifications naturally. So they're not going to follow everybody back. You follow me in like 5 minutes.
Well, it was actually your username that made me follow you back because I'm a huge Avatar fan. I'm super fan. I watch it religiously multiple times a year. My favorite episode is the one where Zuko and Aang go to the Fire Island and they find out the
dragons.
Yeah, they find the dragons. So I watch
learn. Yeah, that was a good episode.
It's my favorite episode. I rewatch it like once a month, and I rewatch Avatar probably 4 times a year.
Really?
So when I saw your name, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm following him back." Avatar fan, of course.
So branding works.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Okay. So okay, well, there we go then. Another common interest. We're gonna have to talk about Avatar one of these days.
We have to. We have
Okay.
to.
So, but today we're not doing Avatar because I didn't know she was into Avatar. So we're gonna set that up another time. We're gonna talk about some Apple TV bangers.
Mm.
So, like I said, we talked about Shrinking. Well, we didn't talk about Shrinking. You were talking about Shrinking. So
Yes.
I had to hook that up.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna talk about a couple different shows. The first show I want to talk about is Severance.
I love Severance. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with Severance.
So, did you watch it when it first came out, or were you late to it?
I was actually late to Severance. So I think about right before season 2, episode 3 came out, that's when I caught up. And that's when I started watching it live. But before then, I was binge watched season 1, binge watched episode 1, episode 2 of season 2, and then I started watching it weekly with everybody else. But I wasn't I wasn't really an TV prior to it.
You say you weren't on what?
I really wasn't on Apple TV. I had no idea they had bangers. I was ignorant.
Okay.
I didn't know. But once
So wait, when did you get on the Apple TV?
I got on Apple TV probably like 6 months ago.
Oh, that's recent.
Yeah, it was very recent. I was seeing TikToks of the last days of Ptolemy Gray. And that's what got me on Apple TV. And then once I finished that, I was like, this is the next show. They say it's number 1. I'll give it a try. And
okay.
And it was Severance, obviously. And I ended up getting hooked.
So, my journey with Severance is, disclaimer, I don't even know if the audience knows this, but I have like severe ADHD when it comes to like even things I like. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew Severance. I could tell Severance was gonna be a good show, but I would like be watching it and like look away, look up. I'm like, what's happening?
No, seriously.
So I got a little frustrated. I gave up, not because it wasn't good, it's just because I wasn't giving it the proper attention.
Mm-hmm.
I had that fight for like 2 years because, as you see, I cover a lot of different shows.
Right.
So I was watching it when it was kind of newish, and life happened. Like nothing crazy. I just fell off the horse. That's what I call it. Every time I fall off a show, I fall off the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Then, lucky for me, it took forever for season 2 to come out.
Right.
So I heard season 2 was coming out, and I'm like, shoot, that show everybody talking about, you did not watch it. And among my friends, I'm the TV movie guy. So they're like, oh, you watch Severance yet? I'm like, no, but I'll get to it. And I'm like low-key embarrassed, like they even care that much.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally caught up to it around season 2, episode 2, and then I was a weekly watcher after that.
Mm-hmm. So we about the same time. We both caught up, started watching week to week. So what? Well, my question for you is, what is the wildest theory, the most outlandish theory that you've heard that you're like, this is ridiculous?
Okay, so I'm about to disappoint you. Remember when I said I'm the TV movie guy?
Mm-hmm.
My friends are all sports heads, so I didn't hear much theories on Severance.
Mm.
Like, I'm literally, all my Severance conversations is with myself, and I'm reading, like, I hear feedback from, like, how they thought the show was and the themes. Like, they're breaking it down. They're like, oh, Severance is a analogy for not workplace drama, but, like, not to get too political, but, like, we know who's in power right now as far as the president.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that has to do with worker rights. And I'm just like, oh shoot, I thought it was just a show, but it's not just a show. Drama shows are almost never just shows.
Right.
So I dived into that world. I didn't hear the conspiracy theories on Severance yet. I mean, but if you've seen any, please send them to me.
I do have one that I thought was ridiculous from the very beginning, and I was like, this is stupid. So in season 2, we're introduced to Miss Huang, and everybody kept saying that Miss Huang is Mark.
Is that the Asian woman?
They said that she was Mark and Gemma's baby, and they were introducing her to Mark to see if the chip was working.
Yo,
That was the most ridiculous. Because I'm like, how? This girl was like 14, 15.
is she really a kid?
I mean, in the show, I think they're casting her as a child because, she's
I
a part
thought she was. So I thought she was like, like, I'm a guy, so I can say this. Well, you could too, but men are sick. I thought she was one of those.
No, so the actress stuff is in college.
Okay.
She's in college, but the character, Miss Huang, I think she's like 15. I need to look it up.
No, even then, I thought the character was like some type of like 19-year-old they used to be this childish like appearance for. I don't know. My brain started drifting.
I think it
I
was.
didn't know she was supposed to be a kid.
I don't know, but I think it was confirmed when he said that she was in the fellowship because they normally do that for children. But I don't know. It hasn't been confirmed, and I guess we'll see more about that next season.
I hope so, because I remember being confused and I didn't pick up on that fellowship line you just said.
Yeah, but I brought that up because the fellowship part, I picked it up because I saw a video where somebody was talking about the HBCU band for Milchek and how he's performing with the band, and they were like,
Yeah.
it's an HBCU, and I was like, I don't know if he could have gone to an HBCU if he was in the fellowship. Like, do they have HBCU band in the
Yeah.
fellowship program? I just think that would be crazy. I mean, it's looming. Anything could happen. But I don't know
Now,
about.
can I ask you this question? Not to say you have to be a certain type of person to be an HBCU. HBC. I suck with acronyms. But he doesn't.
He doesn't give
Man,
HBCU vibe.
he doesn't, at least by TV standards, because they usually have like a couple of different types of characters that they try to portray.
I think that they're trying to show us that he's aware that he's Black. And I think that us finding out that he's a part of an HBCU, which I don't think that he is. I honestly just think that he wants to connect with Black culture
Mhm.
because he was so heavily involved with Lumen. I don't know. I don't know how they would be able to tie that in. But I do know he's aware that he's Black. Would I see him? I mean, HBCUs are pretty diverse. I could
They
see
are.
being somebody who's been to an HBCU.
What's the main man's name again? I don't know why it skipped my head.
The main guy?
The black guy. Milchek. So he how'd you feel about that scene when the one of the higher ups in Lumen was getting on him and he finally defended himself?
I loved it. I loved it. I was tired of him getting on Milchek. I was done with it. He was just taking it and trying his best the whole time.
So is he a villain or is he just a worker, you think?
I think he's just a worker. I think he just wants to do a good job. That's all. I think that that's really what he wants, is to
Okay.
do something that he can be proud of.
Got it.
I don't know. I change my mind on Milchek all the time.
I think I'm in that boat.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a villain. I
Mm.
used to think that though. Like, he used to piss me off in the first season. I'm just like, he was just in the way.
He's just so much of a worker bee. Like, he's willing to take orders and go and do. And I feel like when Miss Corbell was in that position, she was more so in charge. She was
Yeah.
making decisions and running the department as if she was in charge. And when it comes to Milchick, I feel like he's just wondering what they're going to tell him to do next. Everything is, I got to make sure I'm doing it correctly for the board. And I feel like Ms. Corbell, she kind of didn't care about the board. She cared about the project, but she didn't care about the opinions of the board.
See, for me, I feel like they're both company people, just in different ways. Cause she's in Philly, we call it you're being Joe. So like when you're being extra, we call it being Joe.
Mm.
So she was being really Joe. Like she wasn't even hired by Lumen no more, and she's like doing all this stuff. She's just doing the most.
When they did the overtime contingency and she realized, well, first of all, you are so weird for trying to be the doula for this man's sister.
That was weird.
Close to the family. I was like, when I first watched, I was like, is that the same?
That's actually what I meant to say. She was still working with them, but she'd be off the clock and doing the most. Like you're a DOA agent now.
She was so weird. But once we realized that she was the one that came up with the chip and the severance process, then I'm like, oh, she's really just trying to see how it's working for Mark, which I also find to be weird because it's not like Mark was the first person to get the chip. She could have
Yeah,
been any of the people on the severed floor. Why choose Mark to be so interested in? So I did think that, oh, well, I guess
that's a
because
good question. Well, I guess because Mark was close to the guy, the one who died in the beginning.
Petey,
Yeah, PD was the first one to take his ship out. What was his significance again?
what do they call it? Reintegrate. He was the first one.
Right. Okay.
I don't even think he was. What about the doc? What did the doctor Ragabi? I don't even know if she got. Well, she possibly couldn't be severed because she has to be able to put the chip in and have that knowledge. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think she was hired to not ever have to be severed.
Right.
I think. I mean, that would make the most sense to me, but they could surprise us in season 3 or 4.
I don't know. I don't even think Ragabi's coming back, to be honest. I think she's like, I'm done. I'm leaving. Lumen is too powerful. I got to get away.
And see, to that point, I feel like that's what's going on in today's world with like Amazon and like Tesla and whatever company. Like, I don't have the best parallel, but like, okay, for instance, about people boycotting Target?
Mhm.
A lot people at first were like, that's not going to work. And now people are like, oh, wait, it's kind of working.
Right, right.
So that's always a debate, at least in my world.
I think that for me, Severance is like a parallel to what these corporations would like for our world to be and why they're so gung ho about AI instead of hiring more workers. Because people do want to enjoy their lives and they do want to be able to live and not live to work, but live to live. AI doesn't care. It just wants to work. And I think Severance is like the answer in their world for the problem that we're having currently.
I would agree.
Your entire life can be fun because you don't know anything about work. You don't even realize you're spending those 8 hours there because you have no idea what you're
You're a
doing
genius.
there at anything. And so now we're living in like a parallel of, well, instead of you getting the severance chip, your job gets taken by AI. You don't want to work this job. You want to go enjoy life. That's fine, but you don't get to work with us. Or if you do work with us, you get pennies on the dollar.
I didn't look at it that way because I went in with one thought. Like I was comparing it to like Amazon. It's not the same, but I know Amazon stinks for a lot of workers. They say I have never experienced it, so I kept on looking for those pieces. But I like the way you put that. That's perfect, actually.
Well, thank you. But that's how I'm seeing. I'm like, yeah, that because if we could just go to work and go to work and go to work and go to work, these corporations would be 100% fine. Because imagine you do have a severed chip, you don't have to go home. They could
Right.
be there, and you just be working.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a lot of proof that companies will do whatever the government and workers let them do. Without
Yeah,
the rules, they're gonna do whatever they can to make their money.
say the laws are written in blood. They didn't make them because they felt like, oh, this would be good for the workers. No, the workers are like, no, we're
Wait, can you
not.
say that thing again? What's written in blood?
The laws are written in blood.
I'm sorry. It just sounds so southern. I love the way you said it.
The accent it just comes out. I can't.
Well, I mean, we all got one. It's an accent to somebody else.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so who's your favorite character?
I'm very compelled by
Or who has
Helly.
a storyline?
Second,
If it's separate. Your favorite character and who has your favorite storyline or character arc?
it might be Helly for both.
Really?
Yeah. Or no, I'm also very interested in the older guy,
Irving.
Irving, because I didn't expect him to have so much going on. I thought he was going to be a workplace friend. He gives
Hmm.
chimes in. I
Yeah.
didn't know like there was gonna be so much there.
Do you
So I
think
like
we
his story. Do I think what?
do you think we've seen the last of Irving?
No. I think the writers like him too much. I think the writers like him way too much.
I could see.
I like Kelly because the duality thing, like her two personalities are really fighting each other right now.
I know.
So I'm sorry, say again.
No, I was just saying it's so crazy to see that it's
Yeah. And it's like I don't know how to get deep with that. Like I don't know what that represents, but I'm enjoying that.
I was thinking that Helly and Helena are like nature versus nurture because it's obvious that she's like rebellious. Even Helena, she's just as rebellious as Helly in different ways. And I think that if she wasn't socialized to be a Luminite, that's what I'm gonna call her.
She's a Luminite. She's basically an heiress, right?
Right, she's an heiress.
Yeah.
If she was socialized to be that way, she would be 100% against what their company is doing because she's so rebellious.
So you're my bad, keep going.
I was just gonna say that I think that what Helly is representing that. That's what I was gonna say because she has no knowledge of being in Lumen. All she sees is that this is this chip. It keeps me here. She was willing to go so far as to unalive herself
Yeah.
to prove a point. I think that Helena is just as rebellious, but because she was socialized differently and because she believes that she has to uphold the values of her family, that she stands with Lumen. So that's why I think
So
it's nurture.
that's awesome. So basically Helly is who Lane is it Helena? Helena?
Helena.
It's that's who Helena would be if she didn't have that Lumen infrastructure.
hmm
So you know what? I've always felt that, but I never knew how to put that into words. I agree with that.
That's what I was thinking.
So yeah, that's to the point that she's only doing that because of Helena now. She's only doing that because that's what she's taught. So I get that. That's that. This is going on TikTok.
Well, yeah, because you see how her dad tries to shame her. That's his way
Yes.
of communicating what he wants and doesn't want from her. Even when she was going to make the speech before they did the overtime, well, when during the overtime contingency, and he walked in, and instead of trying to uplift her before she went out and made the speech about Lumen and the severance, he tried to shame her first by basically saying like, "We have to keep you under control."
Yes. Okay. I remember that. I remember that.
It's like
So
they keep her under the thumb. You're shame,
yeah,
and that's. But if she wasn't a part of the family, she would be like, "Y'all are monsters."
yeah. But she's like, because she's so a part of that, she's probably like, yeah, I do need to do better rather than being like, oh, he is tripping.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Who's
Because
your
why?
favorite character?
Why do you need to watch me cut an egg 6 ways and eat it in the morning?
Yeah,
That's
it's
weird.
it's
Normal people,
nuts.
but if you were shamed into it, you're like, I should eat the egg 6 ways, which was
Yeah,
crazy.
it's nuts. Who's your favorite character?
I think that my favorite character would have to be, I'm going to say Dylan. And I'm going to say Dylan because I think that his story in season 2 brought up a great point that I didn't even think about, which was, doesn't any deserve agency? And that was the theme of the season, with Mark S having to choose between Gemma and Helly. But I think that Dylan fully understood, and I guess because it was both times, it was his wife. He understood that his any deserved agency, and they deserved a chance to choose because they are a person. And I think that because his wife was able to convey to him that it was you, it was like you, but it wasn't you. He was able to see his any as a person, and it just brought up a lot of feelings for me, a lot of thoughts for me, and it kind of made me look at the whole thing differently. And I think that I understood Mark S more in the decision that he made in choosing Helly instead of going out with Gemma, because he's his own person. He has his own life. He has his own agency, and he can, even if his time left is only on the severed floor for the next 2 hours until they come shut it down or whatever they decide to do on season 3.
Mhm.
That's enough for him. His life has only been what, like a couple of hours, maybe a couple of months over 2 years at this point. 8 hours.
Yeah.
So
So your team, separate employees are their own people.
I am.
Okay.
The season finale really brought it up for me because I couldn't help but think, what is the end goal? For reintegration, how are you going to reintegrate two different souls who have two different wants? Mark S doesn't know Gemma. He's not in love with Gemma. He's in love with Helly. Mark, he's in love with Gemma. He can't stand Helena. He has no idea who Helly is. How
Yeah.
can rate this and make a decision that both parties will be happy with. There's no way. Somebody is going to have to compromise.
That's true. So here's a curveball. Let's say they perfect the reintegration process and both personalities remember everything from both sides. So at that point, wouldn't it just be the new version's choice?
I don't know, because I think the old version was still. I really don't know. I think that'd be like a forced version of, what is it, DID? The one where they have multiple personalities in one body? Like the forced version of that. I don't.
Right.
That's what I think it would. One just checks in and checks out. I don't
Yeah.
know. I wonder what they're gonna do in season 3, because these are questions that
Mhm.
I have, people have, obviously, and I don't know how they're gonna accept. Because is reintegration really successful? We don't know. We don't know that.
It might ruin their brains.
Literally, it might melt their brain. The new they
Yeah.
might have to fight. The two souls might have to fight inside of the body, and whichever one
Yeah.
wins, that's the one that takes over from there on out.
So do you consider the show a sci-fi show?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I didn't at first, not because I don't think it is one. I just didn't realize it was
Hmm.
until I realized there's actual science involved that doesn't exist. So I'm like, that's literally what science fiction is.
I agree. It's like the most extreme Twilight episode. I mean, what is it?
Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone. It's like the most extreme version of the Twilight Zone. A whole season,
Yeah.
whole couple of seasons of it. So I don't know. I'm just excited for what they're gonna come up with next season. 'Cause I don't even know which way they could go. If they shut the power off, the severed floor is done.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what are they gonna? Are they gonna shut the power off? Is Milkshake gonna get back in?
But would the chips be fried?
Mark killed Gemma's out. I think Corbell or Devin, they're downstairs waiting on Gemma. Are they gonna be able to get her out of the building?
You know what's gonna happen though. We're
What?
going to watch this new season. It's gonna be a time skip again.
Please don't do that. I don't want to do.
Then we want to take 2 episodes to piece everything together.
Oh my God, I hope they don't go there, right? I need to know from that exact moment where they
I need it too.
and Gemma's in the stairwell screaming for Mark. Oh my gosh, I just can't. My heart broke for her. It really did, because you have no idea. You just see your husband, who you haven't seen in years, running
He
away,
was kidnapped.
and you have to think they told her that he moved on with somebody else. They told her he had a kid with somebody else, and now you're seeing him run away with another woman.
So confirm some of that for her.
So then it's like, are you gonna listen to Devin and be like, oh, that was his severed version? She can never go in and get him. It's gonna have to be somebody that's not severed that goes into the building and gets him out if he chooses to leave. I don't know. It's too many questions.
Couldn't they shut that company down just for kidnapping her alone?
Yeah. If she was able to get out and get to the news, and just like I think season 1, episode 1, when they were talking about their severed employee that got pregnant, like imagine Gemma going to the news and saying, I was kidnapped by Lumen. I went for a fertility treatment and they trapped me in a basement and hired my husband and told him that I was dead, and then told me that he moved on. And now he's trapped. They kidnapped him too.
Yeah, that's actually nuts when you put it that way. I mean, the show's already nuts as it is.
Literally, it is. It honestly is. But now I'm thinking, like, what's going to happen? Because Bert, do you think that they told Bert to kill Irving before he got on that train?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, whether he listens or not is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But I like, I'm not optimistic when it comes to them not being evil.
Oh, yeah. I 100% believe that they're evil, only because he was like, I needed to save a soul, his soul. So you
Yeah.
went, like, you've been doing some stuff. You're a dangerous man, Bert.
Okay, so we gave Severance about like 22 minutes. Anything we gotta say before we move on to the next show?
No,
Okay.
I think we covered everything.
Okay, so Severance is like, I hate lists and all that, but like Severance is considered like it's considered like that kind of show, like a classic show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Even though it's only 2 seasons, I think it's really well done.
Oh, yeah. It's already up there. It's already a classic. Whatever they do this season, it's already been cemented. Even if they
Yeah.
say the third trash, I'd be like, just watch the first 2 seasons. Don't worry about
Yeah.
the third.
Is it gonna take more than a year for it to come out?
I'm not sure. I think they said that they were gearing up to film, so hopefully it doesn't take long, but I don't know.
It shouldn't be that hard to edit. There's no special effects. Like, just give us a season. Like,
Hurry up. I need to know what happens.
okay, so Shrinking. That's actually one of my favorite comedies.
I love Shrinking.
Did you
I
watch it just because it's on the top list or whatever on Apple
Yes,
TV?
I
Okay.
did. It took me a couple of times to start watching it though, to really get into it. The first time I think I got to like episode 5, and I was like, okay, I need to lock in. I got to start over and get everything.
Really?
Yeah, because I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know what I was doing, but I just wasn't paying attention
So
to
you're
the.
like me with Severance.
I
Got
think
it.
that's with a lot of shows though, because I did the same thing with Ted Lasso. I did the
Did you
exact
watch
same.
Ted Lasso?
Yeah,
Oh,
but with Shrinking, I think it was like, I don't know. I don't remember what made me want to lock in, but I was just watching. I was like, I need to start paying attention, and I did, and I'm glad I
okay.
did.
So how do you feel about the way they portray grief and growth?
I actually love the way that they portray it because you get you get the point of view of a therapist giving out their advice, and then you get the point of view of a person who's trying to follow their advice to the best of their abilities. But obviously, we're human. You're gonna make mistakes, and it's kind of hard to apply what you talk about in therapy or what you know as a therapist to everyday life because grief is hard. Things in life are hard to navigate, and I think that that's what the strength of the show is, and that's what makes it so relatable. It makes people want to watch it because as you're looking at it, you're like, yeah, I wouldn't. In therapy, you'll say, yeah, I'm going to go stand up to this person. I'm going to go do this. And then you get out in the real world and you're like, I don't want to do it right now. That's hard. I'll just
Yeah,
say I did it.
I relate to that. Like personal story. It's not a real story, but so I went to school to be a teacher, and after work, I'm a classroom assistant right now, but after work I tutor. I do a lot of executive functioning, like telling kids how to use their time effectively to get the grades they want. And it's like I know how to tell them that, but then I get home and I'm like, I don't feel like doing my own homework. And I'm not gonna lie, I hope they don't see this episode, but sometimes I just don't do it.
I'm like, yeah, it
So
is.
like I relate to that.
Yeah. I think what stood out, what brought that to my attention the most was when Gabby was trying to stop sleeping with Jimmy. And she knew in her mind, this is not working, not something that I want, but she could not stop. And she kept going back until she finally was like, I need to set my boundaries in order to say, make sure that our friendship is okay.
Yeah.
I can continue to be around you and our friend group. And I just thought that was so funny because, like, girl, you're a therapist and you can't set this boundary.
Yeah.
We're all human.
But she struggled setting boundaries, period, because she didn't know how to do that with her mom, which that was understandable. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. But I think she set too strict of, I think, well, she did set a boundary, but I don't think that she communicated it as well. She was more avoidant than anything, which, yeah, makes sense because she was the same way with Jimmy. Instead of having a conversation, she
Mhm.
just tried to
But
avoid it.
it took her forever to even try to set that super hard boundary with her mom because she was just like accepting her mom moving in at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get back to the point of her sleeping with Jimmy. Isn't that messy?
Thought that was so, and I'm like, this is so real because life is very messy. But I'm like, this is wild. You were friends with his dead wife. The daughter knows you as basically an aunt,
Yeah.
and you're sleeping with him.
I can't like, I know people are crazy, but I can't picture doing that because like, I'm probably oversimplifying it, but that kind of means I found like if I'm in her shoes, I'm just like that I just found my friend's spouse attractive the whole time? Like in that way?
Like there could have been a chance that it was her and Jimmy instead of his wife. I
Yeah.
just weird. I'm like, I don't get this.
I don't either.
I didn't get that storyline. I understand it was so that she could set boundaries and practice that, but I'm like, she could have done that in a different way.
Yeah, but I guess they're trying to show us that like life is that messy for
Yeah.
like and sometimes we just don't see it. Like our coworkers probably that messy and we just don't know.
Right, right. People have insane lives and we have no
Yeah.
clue.
No clue. But yeah, it just couldn't be me. But I think that's the point of the show. There's just like that annoying friend circle.
They are. They are so annoying. But that's what makes it so funny.
Yeah,
My gosh. That show, great for a laugh.
it is.
I really enjoyed it. And I like how they spent time with each character with each arc. Everybody had something that they were dealing with.
Mm.
They just had to deal with it, really, and we just watched them. So I
They
really
even gave Derek a little story, which I didn't
they
see coming.
did. I was like, what? When I was so mad when she kissed. I'm like, please don't. The whole time I'm like, please don't do it. I don't want this. I don't want this to happen.
And he's too nice.
He is, and he loved her for her. He let her.
Yeah.
Well, but she was
Like,
being nice. I don't like this. He let her talk to him, and he got away. He's like, I love my wife. I like how she talks to me.
yeah, like, he's like, I'll let you be you. Yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about them showing the drunk driver that actually killed the wife? I can't remember her name right now.
I don't remember her name right now either. That's terrible.
I
But
know.
Jimmy's wife.
Jimmy's wife.
I actually like that.
You did?
I did. At first, I was just like, "Oh, we about to." So I'm considered to be very. People think I'm like soft when it comes to like social issues and like those type of topics, like real life topics.
Hmm.
Like I can make anyone a victim if you talk to me. That's how people feel. But drunk driving is not one of them I'm known for. I'm like very hard on my friends when they attempt to do it, they do it. Like
Hmm.
I'm very hard on them. Like I have no sympathy. So I saw that and I was like, he's a tortured soul.
No.
And when he was at what was it? Was it Christmas, Thanksgiving? And he was
Oh,
like sitting alone.
oh my God. That was the closest I've ever come to crying at a show.
Yeah.
I
A show never made you cry before? A show
I
never
mean,
made
at
you
a
cry
show on
before?
Apple TV. I mean, I don't think I've cried at a show in years at this point. I just haven't connected to anything really like that. But
Okay.
that scene, that was the closest that I've come to crying in I don't know how long. I guess because real life was terrible. You know who's enough. Anyway.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that, but I get it though. I do get it. That's real.
But uh so when I saw him, and it was like he had one drink, literally one drink, driving home. He had his girlfriend, but he was so sad. He was so remorseful that he just pushed everybody away. And he lost his job. He got a new job. He lost that job. I'm like, oh my God, can this man catch a break? Then you have,
Yeah.
of course, what's the daughter's name?
Let me look this cast name up because I'm messing up these names right now.
Her name is
Alice. That's my mom's name. I couldn't remember that.
what? Terrible. But you have Alice who shows up to his job, goes off, makes him feel worse, which rightfully so. She has a right to feel the way she feels, that
Hmm.
she felt about him at that time. But like on top of everything else, I'm like, y'all are pushing him to the edge. Everybody just stop. Give the man a break. He knows what he did was wrong. Please.
Then it's like I'm saying that because I'm a spectator. Like if I was in their shoes, I'm probably worse than they are.
Man, that's why I got Jimmy though. I understood that he felt betrayed that Alice was talking to the man who
Yeah.
killed his wife and blew up his life, basically blew up their lives. Honestly, Jimmy was really going through it in those first couple of episodes. I was like, who is this? I went back and rewatched after I finished. I was like, I don't remember him being this bad. He was terrible.
Yeah, no, Jimmy's unhinged, and I mean that's why Paul Harrison Ford's character is just like, yo, like stay away from me. He warmed up at the show went on,
Mhm.
but he's just like, y'all do too much.
Yeah, they do a lot.
They do a lot.
But I loved Gabby and his relationship on the show and how it developed and how they confronted the fact that he would do more for Jimmy than he would for Gabby. And I like how they faced that.
You said they fixed it.
I like how they faced it. Well, by the end they
Wait,
did fix
okay.
it because he showed up to her interview and wrote her recommendation letter and made sure she was hired. But Liz was, calling him out like you're not supporting her in the same way that you do Jimmy.
Maybe why do you think that was? Is because of what Jimmy went through?
I don't want to bring it up, but I'm gonna bring it up. I think that it just shows the dynamic of being a
Black
woman
woman.
and a black woman in a professional setting with white male counterparts because she kind of did take on this like supportive role in their practice. and she was there for everybody else. She was literally picking him up, bringing him to work every day, taking him home every day, doing everything he asked of her, joking with him, making sure his mood was fine. Jimmy was taking from this man. Gabby was giving, 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 and she was not getting in return. He was so supportive of Jimmy, but he was ignoring Gabby completely. And I think that was just part of, like you said, being a Black woman in a corporate setting with two white male counterparts. And I'm thankful that Liz was an ally in that moment and called him out and said, "Hey, you're not treating them fairly. You're not treating Gabby fairly."
So I think obviously this happens to Black women a lot. I think because maybe culturally and okay, so I think culturally women naturally are expected to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially now that women been working for decades now, and that's a normal thing. So, but even though women work just as much as men, they're still somewhat expected to cook and clean more than a man.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that invites a lot of opportunities to be taken advantage of,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it shows there. So I say that to say that when you're the stronger one, people don't expect you to need anything. Not to say it's not a problem, but because she was the one giving, they assume that she didn't need anything, and
Right.
that's something we do wrong as a society.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't notice that at first. I actually, like, I'll be honest, I didn't even remember that part until you brought it up. Like I really didn't remember that part, but it's a very important point to bring up. So I'm glad you did it.
I think it just made me love their relationship more. That he was willing to take the correction and understand, that Gabby does care for me and she does need me just as much as Jimmy does.
I mean, for me, it's like I don't think you could be a therapist and not take criticism, or else it's like, why would you have that kind of job where in moments you're gonna have to be corrective? Like it doesn't hold as much weight if you just are super stubborn to your flaws.
Yeah. So I do love that about this show. Everybody's flexible. They're willing to grow. They're willing to learn. They're willing to change.
We gotta talk about Sean a little bit.
Whew.
Sean, his deal was he's
He was
a Black man, a veteran.
mm-hmm.
Why is he so upset again? Because of what he went through, or
He has PTSD
okay,
and he has a strained relationship with his dad at the same
that's
time.
rough.
I like Sean's character, but I'm going to say I had to warm up to Sean because when Alice had that crush on him, I'm like, you need to be firmer. You should not be sitting in her room or,
But
not
they ain't
being.
realize that first because man, we're done when it comes to people liking us. We're not that like bright.
I don't really know if I know that he knew.
But when that's the part I don't remember because season one's so long ago for me now.
That is true. I don't remember, but I think Liz told him. Oh no, he
Got it.
overheard her.
Okay.
Alice talking about it. But after he said it, I'm like, you gotta be firmer with her. You gotta tell her.
Well, did he give you what you wanted at one point? Because she had said something and he was like, he just got up. He's like, nope, and he just dipped.
I was happy about that. I'm like, it's
Okay,
taking too
but
long.
he
We
took
got
too long to get there.
yeah, I'm like, we gotta nip this in the bud now. I don't want Sean to get caught. That was my main thing. I'm like, you're living in the house. You're in the pool house. She has a crush on you. She keeps showing up in the pool house, or you end up in her room or whatever. And Jimmy trusts you, so that's great. But let's not abuse it. So I was afraid that it was going to turn into a situation where Jimmy walks in and he's like, "What the heck is going on?"
But that's where your real world brain kicks in because on TV shows, male female relationships are weird. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say weird, but it's very. I feel like when they have a funny way of showing that, oh, this is platonic because it's like,
Yeah.
let's say me, you live in the same town. I'm married. I'm not just going to sit in your room one on one
Mm-hmm.
and like, even if we were like that, we know damn well people be like, that's weird.
Right. Right.
Like we just know that automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's weird the way TV handles that.
Yeah, because then she was 17. And I'm
Yeah.
like, let's nip this in the bud quickly. We don't we
No
don't
one on one rooms, Sean. Come on.
right. You don't need to be in her bedroom at 17 years old. But I'm like, I guess they're trying to show that they trust him. Jimmy was trying to show that he trusted Sean. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know. That was my real world brain. Like,
Yeah. But in sitcom world, men
that's
and
fine.
women are like exactly the same.
Right, right. But Sean, he was one of my favorite characters. I really did. I was really proud of his growth.
Yes.
Especially how towards the end when Liz and Derek were trying to basically give him everything. Give him everything he wanted. They wanted to give him the food truck. They wanted to give him an apartment so that he could move forward. He was like, no, I really want to work for this. I want something for myself. So it made me really proud of him. And also how he dealt with his father, how he started to deal with life in general. Because that last, what was that episode where he walked up to the guys and let them beat him
Yeah.
just so he could feel something? I was so
That's true
worried.
depression.
I was so worried about him. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we got to get Sean some help. He's already getting help.
But it seems like he needs more. He might need some meds.
No, he needs inpatient. You got to get locked up for a second.
Yeah. Like, it takes a lot to just say, I want people to beat me up. Like, multiple people.
Literally, I want to get jumped. I'm going to go antagonize these people just so that they can jump me so that
Like,
I can feel something.
he
It's
was in
like,
a cast and all that afterwards, right?
literally, family had to show up. Everybody's at the hospital. For what, Sean? I guess he just had to get through it. It was terrible. Oh, and I also wanted to talk about Jimmy and Brian, his
The
best
best
friend.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like reflective of male friendships in today's society, even though Brian is gay. And I think that heterosexual versus homosexual men have different standards of friendship.
Yes.
And it was interesting to see Jimmy trying to navigate that friendship through his grief and kind of try to treat it like the typical male friendship where we don't get deep. I just show up sometimes, you show up sometimes, so we don't say anything. And that wasn't enough for Brian.
Yes.
And I like how they showed that there needs to be effort on each side and that it's okay to depend on your friends and lean on your friends and lean into that relationship when you need to. And I saw that Brian was being neglected as well. I mean, he didn't need, help through grief, but he was going through life and his friend was absent.
So, this is a little off topic, but was Brian close to Jimmy's wife? Why
Hmm.
keep calling her Jimmy's wife? I
He
can't.
was close. He
Tia.
was close to Tia. Oh, okay. Good, because I wasn't gonna remember.
I
But he was
wasn't either.
close to Tia, but he was Jimmy's best friend. He and Jimmy
Okay.
met in college. But
I only asked that because I think at one point he snapped about it. I can't remember what he said.
yeah, he
And
was like he would come over every Wednesday for dinner. Yeah, that's what he said. He was like, she would show up. And I think that, again, women and homosexual men view friendship differently from heterosexual men. And she
yeah.
understood the intimacy that goes into friendship, which Jimmy did not. And he was completely unaware.
He's just too much of a guy. Like my sister makes fun of me for that all the time. She'll ask me questions about me, talk to my friend. Like for instance, my friend of 20 years had a new girlfriend, and my wife was like, "Oh, your friend has a new girlfriend. Tell me about her." I was just like, "I can't." And she's like, "What do you mean? You just talked to him on the phone about having a new girlfriend." I was like, "Yeah, the conversation is about having a girlfriend. I don't know her name." She's like, "You don't know her name?" Then she's like she's asking me all these questions, like. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, you want me to be Sherlock Holmes? And I thought you just wanted me to ask how long they've been going out. And truth be told, I didn't even ask how long they've been going out. So I was being too much of a guy. And I didn't know I was supposed to get all the info.
That is literally how men are. You're like, did you have a good time with your friends? And y'all are like, yeah. What y'all talk about? Sports, like nothing. Like, you don't know anything else.
No, all we do, and we're dumb. Like we just talk about something that happened in '06. Not nothing like how you doing, like how's this job treating you. Like we don't do that, and I don't know why we don't know how to do that. Like don't get me wrong, like I'm overstating it, I'm oversimplifying it. We do,
Right.
but if it gets a little deep, we might abort mission and be like, y'all saw how LeBron got knocked out the playoffs? Yeah.
Once it gets too intimate, you're like, hold on.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
so
know
funny.
what that's about, but
And I'm always asking him a million questions. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna get deep.
yeah,
We have.
and that's the thing, um as far as I think everything's on the spectrum. Like, not to say I'm trying to put this correctly so I don't get snapped on by my in the comments. But basically, I have a lot of female friends actually.
Mhm.
And because of the proximity I have to them, I have more habits as far as how friendships go.
Mhm.
I picked that up from them because our conversations get really deep. So I do pick up some of the things like women, the way women are in friendships. I picked that up in a small ways. And even with that being said, I'm still just a guy because so it's like if I'm that bad, I'm just like, yo, these other guys must suck more. Like the ones that are mostly like guys.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, I'm glad you brought that point up because I I realized that was a point and I was just like, whatever. I didn't even think it applied to me.
It definitely does. To most men, I'll say.
Yeah, probably.
I like how they added that in there and just,
No, that's yeah, they did their homework with that one.
yeah.
Question. This is a little off topic, but did you go to school for something like this? Because the way you dig in is like really good.
No, I actually
Really?
have a degree in marketing.
Really? Oh, you just smart overall. All right.
I try.
How do you feel about Harrison Ford's performance in this show?
I loved it. The grumpy old man. I think that's my favorite character trope. The grumpy old man that's secretly a sweetheart.
Yes.
I love it. And the fact that it was Harrison Ford of all people, I
Mhm.
think made it better. Because that's how I would imagine him anyway.
Yes. So he personifies the whole. What do they say a lot now? Kind but not nice.
Mm-hmm.
Because he
Absolutely.
thinks Jimmy's a jackass. He tells Jimmy he's a jackass.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of saying good morning, he was like, "Hey, jackass."
Mm-hmm.
But he really there for Jimmy.
He is. And he's there for Alice,
Uh-huh.
providing her with services through the grief when he knew that Jim
Uh-huh.
at his absolute worst.
Yes.
Really probably is the reason that girl made it, honestly.
Harrison Ford's character, what's his name? Paul?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah, Paul.
is he their backbone, you would say?
Think so. Honestly believe that he is he's like a tree. He's definitely like the tree, the roots of the tree
Yes.
to them. They
Okay.
all refer back to him.
I would agree with that.
And
Which
you
is
can see it,
interesting that he's not a great father.
which I just love how it showed him as a flawed human being.
Uh-huh.
He's a flawed person. And he didn't he cheat? He cheated on his wife
Uh-huh.
and then pretty much abandoned their daughter.
Yes.
And now is trying to rebuild their relationship. Now with the wisdom that he has, and obviously seeing Jimmy and Alice and understanding that he missed out on a lot.
He basically ran because I don't even think the wife broke up with him for cheating
Yeah,
immediately. Didn't he become distant after cheating because he hated himself so much?
that's what I was thinking. I think that's what they were saying, and that's why he
Yeah.
cut off communication. Well, that's why him and the daughter are so strained because he became distant, which is
So maybe he learned his lesson through that and
mhm.
was there for everybody else. But because you messed it up so badly with her, you didn't know how to fix that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So so for these next few, we're gonna have to run through them a little faster just to save your time. I'll be honest, I didn't realize you watched Ted Lasso at first.
Oh, yeah, I love Ted Lasso, but we can run through that one pretty quick.
Yeah, we can. That's not yeah. So I don't know where to start with Ted Lasso. Like, what do you like about it? Let's just do it that way.
I think that I like the comedy. I like the jokes. They were kind of cheesy. I think that Ted is a cheesy character overall, but I
Yeah.
just think it's like feel good TV. Honestly, and the story is a feel good story. But
Yeah.
obviously, the underlying issues that Ted has, like his anxiety attacks and the other characters' development, but it's just a feel good show overall.
Yeah, like the anxiety thing is like sorry for cutting you off, but I just want to agree with the anxiety part. Like he's a really good person, a very positive person, and he still has anxiety, and it just shows you that anxiety looks like different things.
Hmm.
Because on TV, when you say anxiety, it's usually some person who's probably struggling with maybe addiction or bad parenting or something. He
Hmm.
has a outside the divorce, he has a pretty decent life. Like he's a soccer coach for
Hmm.
what they call it, the Premier League,
Right.
and very happy. Still has anxiety, so I like that they showed it that way.
Yeah. Poor Ted. But he did have some issues with I don't know, dealing with issues, really. And face
Yes.
it on. And I think that it was easier for him to because when it comes to him being a coach, of course, you just let things roll off your back like a duck as a coach. You don't want to hold grudges against your players because obviously, especially in the beginning, I was like, you need to take charge of this team. And he was the low and slow. Ted Lasso was like, I'm just gonna build up my trust and I'm gonna do what I'm doing. And that
Hmm.
worked for the team. But I think that when it came to real life and him dealing with especially the ex-wife, divorcing him and then dating the therapist that they went to.
That was messy, and I don't like that they didn't address that enough.
And they didn't. And Ted just forgave it. He was like, okay, fine, I guess you're with, because he found out because he called. He tried to call the son, and the therapist answered the phone.
That was messy on her part too, because
It was so messy.
he
And
has to
his
know where
part,
his son's at.
why would he be answering her phone?
Yeah,
Why?
like
You are a messy therapist.
you're not supposed to date your clients usually, right?
I think that's like
Okay.
an ethics issue. You shouldn't
Yeah.
be dating her. And were they dating before they got? And then I'm thinking like Ted, like, were y'all dating before?
Yeah, I thought that was about to pop up in a different way, but
Yeah,
I mean that's not what the show's about, so maybe they ain't want to go too
get
deep into
into
that.
it. Yeah, I can see that. But I like how they handled his anxiety and him
Mhm,
coming to terms with it, and then him dealing with it.
mhm.
So that was probably one of my favorite parts of the show, and also Jamie's character arc. I
Okay. Is he
find
your
that
favorite?
yes, he is my
Okay.
favorite. He grew
Okay.
on me so much. I ended up loving Jamie by the end of the show. He was amazing.
It's
I just
funny
think,
because I don't know who my favorite character is.
what?
I actually don't. Not because no one sticks out, but they're just so well written.
I think my second favorite would be Coach Beard.
I like Coach Beard. I don't
Yes,
like him and his girlfriend though.
no, but he would just have the most random stories, the
Yes.
most random outlandish nights, and then be like a normal
Yeah.
guy the next morning. How do you do that? What kind of life do you live, and how can I live my life that way?
I mean that's probably why him and Ted are best friends.
That's true.
Okay, you knocked out a bunch of my questions real quick. We really speeding through. Should they make a fourth season?
Of Ted Lasso.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say no. I think that although I was sad that it did end, and I wish that they could have kept going, I don't know where they could have taken the story. I
Oh
did not
yeah.
see Ted dating. I'm going to be honest.
Say yeah.
I didn't want to see Ted dating. I don't know why, but I'm just like, I don't think that that should be the priority for him now,
Mm-hmm.
especially since he just started dealing with his dad's death
Yes.
and getting to know his son. And he was finally accepting, like, I can live my life without guilt of leaving my son.
Right.
No, actually, did he quit and decide to go back to America?
Yeah. That's the part. That's the thing. Is like, how does he undo that choice?
I don't know. I really don't know. Do you think that? What if him and the wife got back together
No, I don't
when
think
he
the
got,
show's trying to promote that.
when he got back to America? Because why would you go back? You're coaching at the Premier League in England. You don't have to go back to America because he was only doing like college. He wasn't even doing like NFL level
No, he
coaching.
was not even Division 1. It was Division 2, which they usually don't make the league.
So, like, why would you? You are like this top coach in Europe, getting
Yeah,
paid so much money. Why would you leave that behind just to come back to America, other than your son? I understand he was missing
that was the
moments,
only reason.
and I understand it does match his character arc because his dad
Mhm.
did pass away, and he wasn't able to process that. So I can understand him trying to
It
heal
was
him.
suicide, right?
So
Right.
him trying to heal himself through raising his son. So I do
Right.
understand it, but I'm like, I would have moved him to England. I'm gonna be honest. I would have said, you know what, you're done. You go have fun with the therapist. I'm
Mhm.
right, and left it at that.
I think I would have did the same, but it's like I don't even have kids, so it's like I don't. What am I saying? I don't know nothing.
I do have a kid, and I would have brought him. I would have brought him anyway from the very beginning.
You do?
Yeah,
Nice.
I have an 8-year-old,
Okay.
and he
Boy.
is mm-hmm,
Okay.
he is an insane person.
Well, I mean, after this podcast, he's basically my cousin now.
Yep, right.
um. So okay, at the last show we have on the list, I'll be honest, I didn't get through this one. I enjoyed what I seen,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna lean on you for this one.
Okay.
Um, Ptolemy Gray.
This is the show that got me onto Apple TV.
Okay,
I saw people on TikTok posting clips of this show, and I recognized that the actor was Samuel L. Jackson.
my man.
I could not believe that he was acting. The way that he was going in and out of, I want to say time,
Mhm.
going all the way to his childhood and then young adulthood, and then sometimes the present, and then sometimes a week ago. The way he was portraying his character was just like somebody who is going through dementia.
So, question.
I have to watch. I have to see him in this performance. I didn't realize the show was going to be that great. I just wanted to see Samuel L. Jackson in this role.
Watch it right after this. The way you like, they need to hire you. Apple TV needs to hire you.
I fell in love with the show. It was amazing. I don't know. It was just a journey about love and about what family means and what family can be. And it's also about what you're doing with your life, the people that you love, how are you spreading yourself, your essence around this earth or around your community or whatever. Because so many people in the community knew him. That one girl.
Thanks for tuning in. Big shout out to Wiggy for coming through. All your listeners, hit follow, leave a review, and share the podcast. It's the best way to support. It helps more people discover the show. YouTube viewers, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. More listeners means more episodes. Help me spread the word any way you can. Want to go a step further? Support the podcast at buymeacoffee.com/avatarslang. Every contribution helps bring you more great content. Links are in the YouTube description, podcast description, and my Instagram bio. Stay connected to me on Instagram and TikTok at Avatar Slang. Feel free to share your thoughts on today's topics, and thank you for being a part of the Slang Gang.